I turned 90 last week, and that same morning, while I was brushing what little hair I have left, I caught my reflection in the mirror and saw my father staring back at me. His jawline, his tired eyes, the small crease that always deepened when he was thinking. It was all there. For years, I used to shudder at that thought, terrified that I might become him, the man who raised me with silence and whiskey instead of affection had somehow lodged himself inside the lines on my face. But that morning, something in me softened. Maybe because at 90 there's not much left to fight except your own ghosts. I looked at him, at myself, and whispered something I never thought I would. I forgive you, old man. Those 4 words spilled out like warm tea into cold hands. They didn't fix everything, but they started something. The kind of quiet healing you only earn after a lifetime of dragging a heavy heart behind you. I was born in 1934, in a small house that smelled of coal smoke and potatoes. My father was a mechanic who could fix just about anything except his own temper. He worked himself raw through the day and came home, carrying the weight of the world in his shoulders and his breath. He never hit me much, he didn't have to. His silence did the hitting. He'd look at me after I broke a plate or brought home a poor report from school, and his eyes would say all the things his mouth didn't bother with. My mother would fill in the quiet with nervous chatter, folding laundry or stirring soup a little faster. I grew up thinking love was something you had to earn, by being invisible, by staying out of the way. When I left home at 18 to join the Navy, I thought I'd escaped him entirely, but memory has a habit of traveling light. He was there in every order I barked at myself, in every time I swallowed emotion, because men don't cry. I built my life around proving I wasn't him. In doing so, I walked in his exact footsteps without noticing. I met my wife, Ruth, when I was 26. She had a laugh that made rooms brighter. When I asked her to marry me, she said yes before I finished the sentence. We built a life of sturdy simplicity. 2 children, a modest house, a garden she loved, and I mowed with military precision. I thought I was doing everything differently from my father. I never shouted, never slammed doors, never let the kids see me angry. I told myself I was being kind, but silence wears many disguises. When my son came home crying once, clutching a broken toy, I patted his shoulder awkwardly and said, "You're fine." The same cold echo my father once used on me. I didn't realize it then, but a man can repeat his father's mistakes, even while swearing. He's free of them. Patterns pass quietly through generations, like an old scar under new skin. For decades, I carried resentment toward my father like a talisman. I blamed him for my tightness, my inability to say, "I love you," without clearing my throat. He had died when I was 43. I didn't cry at his funeral. I stood there with my arms folded, looking at his coffin, thinking, "Serves you right." That's a terrible thing to admit. But honesty at 90 doesn't ask for approval. It just wants peace. I thought death would close the chapter, yet the book stayed open. Every time I looked at my son, I saw the same distance between us that I once had with my father. That frightened me far more than death ever could. Time, though, has a strange way of unraveling our defenses. After Ruth passed, 30 years of marriage, and then a quick decline from cancer, I found myself living in a smaller world. The house was too big, the nights too long. My children visited often, but there's only so long they can watch an old man stare out a window before they have to return to their own lives. I started spending my mornings at the park, feeding pigeons, watching young fathers push strollers, listening to laughter that tilted like sunlight. One day, a little boy tumbled off his scooter, skinned his knee. The father knelt, kissed the wound, and said quietly, "That's all right, champ." That word, brave, echoed in me. I don't remember my father ever calling me brave. Maybe he never learned how. Maybe no one ever told him he was. Suddenly, I saw my father not as the giant who scared me, but as the small boy he once was, probably sitting in a field somewhere, trying his best to be tough, because the world didn't reward tenderness. Back then, that realization cracked something open. I went home, pulled out an old photo album, dusty, smelling of age, and found a black and white picture of him in uniform, young and unsure, standing beside a truck during the war. His eyes looked so similar to mine at that age. Same cautious hope. For the first time, I felt sorry for him instead of angry. Compassion came creeping in like dawn. I whispered, "You did what you knew." Those words lifted a weight I didn't know I'd been carrying for 50 years. Forgiveness didn't come as a lightning bolt. It came as a slow, steady breeze. After that, I started talking to him. Not the man buried in the ground, but the one in me. I'd sit on the porch in the evenings and say aloud the things I wished we had shared. "I made it, Dad. The kids are good. I turned out all right." Sometimes the wind would pick up just then, rustling the leaves. I'd imagine it was him answering back shyly. I started laughing more easily, even at my own stubbornness. 90. Humor becomes a survival tool. You learn to laugh at your memory loss before it laughs at you. Looking back, I realize forgiveness isn't about declaring someone innocent. It's about setting yourself free. For years, I thought letting go was weak, like surrender. But it's strength. It's choosing peace over dramatics, wisdom over wounded pride. You spend half your life chasing approval, and the other half trying to outgrow it. Somewhere between the two, there's peace. If you're lucky enough to slow down and listen for it. I look in the mirror now, see both of us there, and feel grateful. That's the great irony. I spent most of my life trying not to become my father, only to find my freedom when I accepted that I am part of him, and that maybe he too was just a man doing the best he could with what little life taught him. Sometimes people ask me, at 90, what's the secret? And I tell them, don't wait as long as I did to forgive. Believe me, resentment is heavy luggage. You can't take it with you where you're going. Life is shorter than it looks, especially in the rear view mirror. If my words mean something to you tonight, sit with them a while. Pour yourself a cup of tea, or if you're my age, maybe a small whiskey, and think about the person you still hold anger toward. Picture them as a frightened child, because that's what we mostly are inside. children who never quite learned what to do with our pain. If some small part of this story touches your own, stay with me here. These late life talks, these quiet evenings we share across screens, they matter more than you think. Press that little heart, that button that says you're listening, not for me, but so we can keep each other company in this noisy world. I'll be here, telling my stories, hoping they remind some of you that even in old age, there's room to grow younger in spirit. There was a night not long ago when my son dropped by unexpectedly. He's 62 now. Impossible. Because in my mind, he's still that lanky teenager with the stubborn grin. He brought over some homemade soup, looked around and said, "Dade, you've been cleaning again." I laughed, because my version of cleaning is moving dust from one spot to another. There was warmth in that laugh I hadn't felt before. Before he left, I put a hand on his shoulder. My father's same gesture, but softer, lighter, and said, "I love you." The words surprised both of us. It took 90 years, but I finally said them first. His eyes shimmered for a second, and all I could think was, this is what it's supposed to feel like. I'm telling you this because maybe you have someone out there who made your heart heavier, someone who left you with questions that will never be answered. Life rarely ties its bows neatly. You can't rewrite the past, but you can stop rereading it. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was right. It just means you're no longer letting it define your tomorrows. I lost decades to anger. I wore like armor. But the truth is, anger rusts. It eats through every beautiful thing you build. Let it go while your hands are still steady enough to open. Let it go before your reflection asks, why you waited so long? Sometimes imagine what my father would say if he could see me now, sitting here, recording these words for strangers across the world. Maybe he'd chuckle at my sentimentality. Maybe he'd nod quietly, too proud to say he's proud. Maybe somewhere beyond this life, he's hearing me finally understand him. You see, love isn't something that belongs to the young, it's something we grow toward. I used to think age took things away, strength, speed, friends. But it also gives one gift. You can't get earlier perspective. You stop chasing perfection and start treasuring presence. You learn that every person who hurt you also taught you something vital about your own capacity for compassion. Now, when I wake in the morning and catch that old man's face in the mirror, I smile. I adjust my collar. Good morning, Dad, and go make my coffee. 90 years. It sounds long, but it feels like a blink. I hope when my time comes, my children will remember my laughter more than my silences. I hope they'll forgive the rough edges I never noticed. And if they see their own reflection one day and spot me staring back at them, I hope they'll also find forgiveness in that gaze, because the greatest peace I've known doesn't come from years or success or even love won and lost. It comes from letting mercy outgrow bitterness. If you've listened this far, thank you. Truly, you didn't have to, but you did, and that means we're already connected in some small, human way. Maybe tomorrow, when you look in your own mirror, you'll pause a second longer, the way I did. Maybe you'll see not just your face, the faces that made you, for better and worse. Smile at them. Forgive them. They're part of your story, but they don't have to be your cage. And if this old man's reflection helped you find a bit of light in your own, don't keep it to yourself. Send it forward. Share it so someone else can breathe a little easier too. These days, the mirror doesn't scare me anymore. It reminds me that I come from a line of imperfect men who tried, failed, tried again. I'm at peace with that. The boy I once was and the father I once resented, they both live here, beneath these wrinkles. We've finally called a truce. So tonight I'll sit by my window, listen to the crickets, let the quiet be just quiet. Not punishment, not penance. Just quiet. Because forgiveness in the end sounds a lot like silence finally at rest.